America's Forum. Let's also welcome back former CBS News investigative reporter Sharyl Attkisson. Sharyl, we just heard you there in a clip on the Fox News channel talking about questioning authority. But as things have turned out now, a whole lot of folks in Washington in the journalism business are questioning your credibility. Does the Washington Press Corps essentially serve as well, I guess, a booster to the Obama administration? Explain the dynamic at work.
Well, in some cases, that's the case. And I talk about that in the book because the surprising thing to me isn't that
I think we've seen that
I would be under attack. That was expected. It's discussed and foretold in the book. But the disturbing trend is that when the surrogates get busy, meaning Media Matters, which in essence works in the interest of the Obama administration, Hillary Clinton, and they put out propaganda and false claims, but it kind of bleeds over into the quasi-legitimate press, and pretty soon it's being picked up uncritically, without question, unskeptically by the so-called some in the mainstream press. And that's the trend that I think is really disturbing, that some in what's considered the real news media are complicit and so sloppy and so contradictory by accepting, claims on the one hand that are unverified and unproven, and then approaching me with the skepticism that they would never consider applying to the federal government or to the agencies or politicians with a proven track record of providing misinformation. That's the dynamic that's confusing.
Let's talk about your email accounts and hacking, about the watchdog now being watched. How did that happen?
It wasn't just my email accounts. Some sources came to me during the Benghazi coverage, but we found out that the surveillance and monitoring had gone on much longer, and said to me they thought that based on what they knew the government was doing, that I was probably being monitored or surveilled for my reporting on Benghazi. This was prior to us knowing that the government had secretly confiscated phone records of Associated Press reporters, had spied on the Fox News reporter, was going to give false testimony through James Clapper to Congress about surveillance of public citizens. It was before Edward Snowden, and it sounded, to me, kind of far-fetched without that context. But I was able to be put in touch with a great source who was able to look at one of my computers. He just offered to take a look and immediately confirmed these remote intrusions and surveillance that had gone on for quite some time. They had a keystroke program. They could monitor everything that I was doing, every stroke of the keys. They had access to all my passwords. They could, my understanding is, activate my Skype audio account and listen in, even when I wasn't on Skype, just listen in to what I was doing and exfiltrate files that way. They were in the CBS system. They were able to monitor and look at files that I had, and they paid special attention, according to the forensics, to a Benghazi file. And through two other computer forensics exams that also confirmed the remote intrusions, we learned that they were also monitoring through my Apple desktop at home, which is used by my family. And on that computer, they paid special attention to some photographs I had related to Fast and Furious. So it was very extensive monitoring.
So with that in mind, I understand you're continuing your own investigation, and you've got some ideas as to just who may have been hacking into your computer account. Have you narrowed it down now?
Well, it depends on what you mean by who. I've been given a name by a human source as to who, in the larger sense, is responsible, and I haven't discussed that name. But the computer forensics, the first one, immediately showed, according to that examiner, that the software used in my computer was proprietary to one of 4 federal government agencies, including the NSA, FBI, and so on. So these are very sophisticated efforts that are far beyond the capabilities of, I'm told, the normal garden variety hackers, and the armchair experts who are commenting now with little to no forensics, actually no forensics information, and little other information, and operating off misimpressions, I think, certainly don't know more than the forensics experts who've been directly involved in the case.
Sharyl, you've been on this side of questioning. When you say you have a who, we're compelled to ask, if you can't give us a name, can you at least tell us who this person works for or how they might have gotten in? Can you give us some hint as to who it is, or just tell us?
I can't. I don't mean to be cagey, and I appreciate you asking, but I'm operating on the advice of my attorney and trying to be careful and methodical. And much as I'd like to at sometimes get ahead of myself and go ahead and keep talking about things that maybe not warranted yet.
Did this happen during the
I don't
Obama
want to-
administration, though, Sharyl?
Yes, so the timeline is this was discovered in my first forensics exam, January of 2013, and we know that some of the software was planted as early as February of 2012, I believe. Don't go by. I have to look back.
We'll
at my
check
dates
on
to make
that. We
sure.
thank you for the time. The name of the book is Stonewalled. Our guest, Sharyl Attkisson, thanks so much.